So welcome back to the Piney Woods Homestead, y'all. Today I am going to tackle building a new raised bed, a 4x8 raised bed. You've seen ours over here in the yard, and I'm going to show you just how simple it is to take a few simple hand tools and build you a raised bed. And then we'll check on Lisa, who's going to plant some collards. We'll kind of show you the construction of this bed and how you put it together and how you do it pretty much on the cheap. So thanks for hanging out with us, y'all. Alright, the tools you're going to want to have on hand for this simple project, a couple of drills. I've got an impact driver with a star head on it. That's going to be for driving these construction screws. And I've got a regular driver that I can run in some self-tapping metal screws with for the sheet metal we're going to be using. And tape measure, a speed square, that's going to come in handy when you're making some straight cuts, and a circular saw with the blade flipped around backwards. This is going to be an easy way to cut metal without having to buy one of those fancy electric shears to cut through stuff. If you've got a circular saw, and most people do, if you're handy at all, then you can just turn that thing around and it's going to zip right through the metal for you. I always use an old blade that's dull and I'm going to throw away anyhow. You can get several cuts out of that blade steel. Now for this project, y'all, it's going to take 1.5 sheets of 8-foot galvalume. Galvalume is this stuff right here. This gray or silver looking metal that you can roof a structure with. It's going to take 1.5 because you've got two sides that are 8 foot long, and then you've got two sides that are 4 foot long. We're going to rip this piece of metal in half, both of them actually, and you'll have a half a piece left over. But that's okay because we're going to make more than just one bed this year. And y'all, it's pretty simple to do this. Take that circular saw with the blade turned around backwards, and if you'll notice right there is a groove down the very center of this piece of metal. And all you have to do is cut it lengthwise along with that. And then after we've done the other sheet, we'll cut that sheet in half so that we've got our end walls. Always remember, safety glasses and hearing protection. This is going to be loud and you're going to throw some metal and you don't want it in your eyes. Alright guys, after your metal's cut, it's going to be roughly 19 inches deep. You put your measure on it and you'll find that. Now there may be some waves if you didn't make a straight cut. That's no problem. That's simply to hold all of your soil inside of this bed. And we're going to make a frame now out of 2x4s. And one thing I did not mention was how many 2x4s it's going to take. But you can do that simple math. Basically 2 8-footers per side. And then when you count the, and on the ends it's going to take some 4-foot material, and you're going to put basically some standards or stays or whatever you want to call it, supports, right along in the center. 2 of those on these 8-foot runs and 1 on the 4-foot. But I'll let you know exactly how many 4x4s it took when I get done. But from my recollection, if it serves me well, and here lately it hadn't been serving me too well, my memory, it's going to take approximately 8 of these 8-foot 2x4s. I could be wrong on that, maybe less. But let's get on to building some frames. Y'all, this is pretty simple. All of your supports that are going to go vertically are 1 foot long exactly. That's the way this metal works out. With a 19-inch piece of metal, you're going to need a vertical support that's 12 inches long to go in between your 2 long horizontal runs. And you're going to need 8 of those. y'all wrong on those pieces of 1 foot vertical pieces of lumber. You need 12 of those. I don't know what I was thinking, but then again, my brain ain't been all there here for a while, but it's getting better. So let's keep on building this thing, and I'll show you the frame as soon as it's done. All right, so here's your frames. Here's your 2 end walls sitting up on top here. I've got 2 screws left to put in the center stay there, the vertical stay. And you've got the side walls on the bottom. That took me maybe an hour to knock these together. Now the next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and attach my metal. And I'll set the camera up and you'll be able to get an idea of how that goes. It's very simple. Just put it straight on top of the frame, use some self-tapping screws, metal screws, put them right on. All right, you can see here's how I like to do it. There's a little sweep over here. I like for that to be the bottom of my bed. That way you don't have any sharp edges to get cut on. And if you notice on this side, the wood's going to extend just a little bit higher. I'm going to try to do it that way this year so that we don't have any sharp edges to deal with. All right, y'all, I'm just about out of steam from working on this new raised bed. I've been down here for about an hour and a half, and that just goes to show you my energy level right now. But Rooster's been down here with me. He's snuck off somewhere at the moment. I'm gonna stop on this for today, but you guys get the gist of what I'm doing right here. Just building panels. And one thing I forgot to mention was make sure the ribbed section of those pieces of metal is facing out. You want to see that. That's what makes these look so attractive. We'll come back with some homemade stain put on here because it will be in contact with the ground. But for now, I'm gonna go up to Lisa. She's got some collards to plant, and I want to show y'all how good these plants are looking. She might even plant some kohlrabi too. I'm not sure yet. Just get up there and see what she's got to do. See if we can help her a little bit. Or me. As in we, that means me. Okay, here's you a better look at this bed completed. I've hid any areas where the sides join together with just some 1x6 lumber, and this thing will get stained. But y'all, that looks pretty doggone good. Now y'all, I had mentioned in one of the previous videos that bed cost you about $50, and probably 2 years ago it would have. Right now it's going to cost you a little bit more. I've got $30 in the sheet metal, or in the Galvalume roofing tin that it took to build this. I've got about $5 worth of lag bolts and screws in it, and probably about $40 worth of lumber. Now, rough cut lumber like I've got here, you might be able to get it a little bit cheaper than you would if you go to the store. Obviously it's not treated, so it's going to be cheaper. But if you go and try to buy that treated, it's going to cost you a lot more. About 70 bucks to build this bed if you're using rough cut lumber. All right, what you got going on up here?
I have went through and potted up. I saved these pots from years ago, and so I just use those. I do have some new ones for all of my tomatoes and peppers, but didn't quite get enough. So this is all, these 3 are echinacea, our sage, our basil, coxcomb flowers, and yarrow. And then I still have those too.
Look at them collards. That's got to be my favorite vegetable in the world. It's collard greens. $40 worth of collard greens if we'd bought them in town.
Yep.
closer. A little closer. There you go. Back them in there. What is your favorite vegetable?
My favorite vegetable? Probably okra.
Okra. I love okra. Fried, boiled. How else did we do it last year?
We sauteed it.
Sauteed.
That's my favorite way besides fried.
We like to take them, slice them up, bread them, and fry them along with breaded jalapeno slices. That's pretty good. If I could only make collards the way my Granny Westbrook did, I'd be happy. And this is why, Rooster, you're probably going to end up in a couple of jars.
He's so sweet though. But he's never done this. He's never gotten into one of these. No, how'd I do that?